Hello, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show on Echoplex Media. Talk about tech news, science news, whatever kind of tech and science stuff we want to talk about. I'm historian Matt, and today I just have one story, kind of goes with some of my security stuff. Basically, Google has started, they're pushed out their .zip and .mov domains, and is now breaking the internet, or at least driving them crazy. So Dave is out on an adventure, sort of. So we have just HK. What do you got?
How's it going? I'm HK Perrin, and I cover mostly software development news. And this week I've got a story that's actually quite close to my heart because I used to work on the team that did this. Meta introduces a new MySQL Raft replication. I'll explain what that is and why it's interesting during my segment. Back over to you, Matt.
Good, because I have no idea what that's about. So my topic, I don't want to go into a lot of the details here, but just to cover the general thing. As I said, basically Google is adding 8 new top-level domains. So those are like the last little bit on your domain name when you're going to a website like .com or .net or all that stuff. But Google is adding new ones. I don't know what all 8 of them are, but 2 of the new ones are .zip and .mov. And that's great and all, except that kind of those extensions, those domains clash with file extensions that are very commonly used. And that could give allow a new path for scammers to scam people, basically. So the specifically the issue is, there's some places where files and URLs are a little bit wonky. They're intermixed or whatever you want to call it. But not even just in your browser, scammers can actually design URLs it's a little complicated. I don't want to go into too much of the detail, but basically they can make a URL that can look very legit, like say coming from, I don't know, Microsoft.com, assuming you assume that's legit, but it ends up redirecting you to one of these like .zip or .mov domains, and you're not even realize that's what's going on. So in the show notes, I have, the original story that I got this from on Ars Technica, and a link to the YouTube video by Theo Joe, who goes into a lot of detail on what this issue can be. But what do you think, HK?
It is my honest and sincere opinion that every sysadmin who's in charge of the network for their company should block these 2 TLDs. Yeah. I'm not joking. You should block them. Nothing useful is ever going to be on them. And you will save yourself mountains of headache of people accidentally downloading some malicious thing.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go that far, but that does make sense. I know there were some people who have been trying to get these domains, top-level domains, dropped from lists of domains somewhere. I don't remember exactly where they are, but basically not supported by a large number of places that support domains. And it makes sense. I mean, it's just too likely to cause a problem. And so I guess Google's claiming that because they control the domains, they're going to keep any scammers off of it, but we know how that works.
Yeah, just like they keep all the malware out of the Play Store, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's never been any malware in the Play Store.
Yeah, that is a knee slapper. At least they're keeping their sense of humor over there. Yeah. I think one of the biggest issues is going to be when you text someone and say like, "Oh yeah, just open up, update.zip or whatever," and your text platform or email or whatever turns that into a link. It goes, "Oh, that's a valid domain. I'm going to turn that into a link," and then someone will click on it, and then inevitably they'll all lead to malware.
Going. Yeah, somebody said, I don't know which. I think it was probably in the article. They were like, "Well, scammers are probably going to buy up the domain photos.zip, because that's a very common name for a file. And any place where that can happen, where it could be interpreted as domain other than a file, will cause problems like that.
Yep. I could maybe see .mov being fine, because that's not, it's certainly widely used, but it's not that widely used. It's not as widely used. .zip is used everywhere. Every single system opens .zip files. They by default compress to .zip files. If you just right click a file and hit compress, every single system will by default choose zip. So I don't know what they're thinking.
I don't know what happened there. Why Google felt the need to do that and didn't foresee all these problems, but
just
so keep an eye out on that.
Astoundingly poor decisions.
Yeah. So from what I can tell, I don't want to go into great detail, but the issue with the two different domains things is if you add in an @ symbol, a lot of browsers ignore effectively what's before the @ symbol, and then we'll go to the domain that's afterwards. So people are going to try and send you big URLs that are going to be like whatever, example.zip or something or whatever, or scammy.zip. There we go.
Example.zip. And you don't have to use a real slash. There's a Unicode character that looks just like a slash.
Yeah. Apparently there's a couple of them. And that's what they're afraid of. So if you see an @ symbol in a URL that's given to you from some random place, don't click on it. Don't go to it.
Yep. Pretty much every browser will highlight the actual domain in a URL. Yeah. So if you wonder what the actual domain is, if it looks weird, just check for the highlighted part, or it'll dim all the other parts, and the opacity will be all the way up on the domain. Look for that. Look for the different part of the URL up there, and that's the domain. So if it says update.zip and that's the highlighted part, then it's not Microsoft.com. That comes way earlier.
Yeah. So be aware of these domains and be careful. Keep an eye out for any tomfoolery around them. I don't know what else to say. But that's all I got. So what do you got?
All right. So my story is quite interesting to me. I'm not sure exactly how interesting it'll be to a lot of other people. But Meta introduced a new MySQL Raft replication method. So MySQL replication is the process of having multiple MySQL servers that all have the same data. So Meta has basically the largest MySQL fleet of any system in the world. They've got literally thousands and thousands and thousands of hundreds of thousands of MySQL servers. So they have to replicate all of these MySQL servers. I know that Facebook does it in at least 3 different locations. So there are at least 3 data centers that have a copy of all of any given MySQL database. So they started doing this Raft consensus protocol. So you can use Raft to have several distributed systems all agree on the same log. And the log that we're interested in here is the MySQL bin log. It's a binary log that basically is just every transaction of MySQL goes in that log. So every time you like a post, every time you tweet out a photo, every time you post out a photo, whatever it's called on Facebook, every time you add a friend, anytime you do anything on Facebook that changes some data, it gets replicated to several different MySQL databases. And the old way, the previous system that did this, was data was only the data. So only that stuff that I was talking about, where you like something or you post something, only that was pushed to something called a log tailor. When I worked there, it was called Taylor Swift. Not joking. And I'm probably dating myself for anyone else any of like the team members listening to me, because that program is probably long gone by now. But it would push out to these log tailors, and then the log tailors would replicate the data, replicate the logs to the other MySQL servers. And instead of doing that, Raft handles all of the logs, the binary logs and the control logs. What would you call it? I guess it's like the logs about who's the leader and who are the follower instances. That is all handled in the MySQL daemon with this new Raft system. So basically, you have in MySQL replication, you have a leader, and that handles reads and writes. So all writes go through this leader. Then you have several followers that can handle read requests only, and you can also have replications beyond that can. The way it works is like you have a follower that can be promoted to a leader, and then you have other replicants that can't be promoted to a leader. But essentially, they're the same thing. They're just another copy of the data. So the old system, the one that I worked on, was a set of Python scripts that would handle, anytime a leader would go down, it would handle promoting another one of these followers to be the new leader. So this actually happens quite a lot. It is quite frequent that a MySQL leader will go down. And if you've ever tried to post something and it hasn't worked, and then you tried the exact same post like a second later and it did work, you might, not necessarily, but you might have been hitting the system right when your specific MySQL shard was going through a promotion. And that took a long time. There was a lot of orchestration involved. The Python scripts were really complicated. There was a lot of edge cases that you had to work around. It was not great. So the new system handles leadership elections automatically. So the MySQL daemon itself will talk to all the other replicants, all the other leader followers and replicants, and kind of elect a new leader. And it's guaranteed to elect a new leader, and then the log is guaranteed to be concurrent between all the new leaders with all of the old data. So yeah, the new system is live now, and it should help Facebook and anything else on Facebook's MySQL infrastructure, which I think includes Messenger and Instagram. It should help those be a bit more reliable and less error prone. So absolute kudos to the team for developing such a cool system and managing to migrate the entire live Facebook MySQL fleet to this new system. Like, it didn't go down while they were migrating this. That's an absolutely incredible feat. So, yeah. Any questions? Comments? Concerns?
Since I never really got that involved in the deep part of this kind of MySQL stuff, like I didn't, it's a little beyond me, but it does sound interesting. It sounds like a good thing that this was actually, so this is all basically handled by MySQL instead of separate scripts or stuff now, right?
Yeah. So this was like Facebook built this into MySQL and released this as open source. So you can actually go and use this right now on your own several 100,000 server MySQL fleet.
Yeah, I got that in my back pocket. Let me tell you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it is really cool that they released it open source. That they managed to pull this off. Like it's really incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever used a MySQL instance that was more than on one computer. It was one instance. Besides a backup kind of thing. Which I don't even think was regular, was like replicated. It was just, copied at some point, right? using other methods.
Yeah, with I have currently with my email system, I have one database instance that is replicated into one other location. So just 2 copies.
Well, hopefully it'll be a lot more in the future.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, when it gets to it. Cool. I don't have any other questions because I don't know enough about this.
Hopefully someone in the audience found that interesting, at least as interesting as I do. At least half as interesting as I do, because I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess since I haven't been on the show for a couple weeks, should I read the show out? Yeah? All right.
Sure.
So this is our weekly tech show. How the tech are you? We do this show... we put it out every week. We don't do it live. So if you want to check out some of our live shows, check out twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. And if you would like to support us, you can support us on eplex.store. And you can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Echoplex. And you can check out echoplexmedia.com to check out all of our other shows, everything we're doing. And don't forget to like and subscribe, just like all the other YouTubers tell you to do, but especially do it for us. Buttons are down there, I think. And have a great tech and week.